Hello everybody and welcome back to Grand Bazaar. Today marks the final bazaar of year 1. We are on the 27th day of winter. We've only got about 5 days left of the year, and so we are just in the process of kind of wrapping things up. We're getting ready and prepared to welcome back the spring season, which I'm looking forward to. Winter hasn't been that bad, especially when you consider sometimes how boring winter can be in Harvest Moon games depending on how things are done. But it's time. Now, I'm already running low on inventory space because I loaded up my bag, probably a little bit prematurely here. I'm gonna go ahead and put away some of my seeds just to make a little bit of space. I will take them back out, but I need to go and look after the animals here. Gather up all my eggs and my milk. I could do it after the bazaar, but I don't really have a whole lot going on at this stage of the game, to be honest. When I just played this day recently and went to the bazaar, I actually did pretty poorly. I made it into the sales goal, but I actually got second. For some reason, somebody absolutely dominated with $125,000 worth of profits coming out of nowhere, seeing as how they never seem to get anywhere close to that. So it was an interesting bazaar for me, and I do have some things to sell, don't get me wrong. But I just don't have a whole lot of variety still. At this point, we're still dependent on things like fish, mostly seeds. I don't have any jewelry to sell this time around because I am unfortunately lacking in some gold ore. When we played the last bazaar, I had purchased some gold ore, but that's not actually what I had bought when I was playing through on my own, because Lloyd instead was selling silver, so I had bought 2 pieces of silver instead of gold, which doesn't make that much of a difference in terms of what it costs, but I'm having a hard time coming across gold. So I've got all of these gems, all these ores and whatnot, but I don't have any gold to actually make myself some jewelry right now. Now, if I was desperate for money, I mean, I definitely could go through and sell some of these gems on their own, because it is going to take me a very long time to get through all of these gems by the time I find some gold. But I'm still not feeling like I'm desperate for cash. I'm really not all that worried. I just like to keep a nice variety on me, and it just feels nice to know that you've done really well at the bazaar. But winter has just been kind of a nice, laid-back experience for the bazaar. I think we've still held our own. I think we've still done really, really well. But we haven't had to spend a lot of money, so it hasn't been that big of a deal when we don't make a lot of money. I guess I'll take maybe a stack of eggs to sell just because I have so many of them. I just kind of want to clear up my inventory here. But I think what I have is going to work just fine. I should probably get going to the bazaar here before we lose too much time. There's actually a lot of stuff on the ground here that I would be picking up if I had a little bit more time. lots of snowballs. There's even some lavender laying around, which kind of became scarce the longer the season went on. I didn't seem to have much of an issue picking up lavender at the start of the season, but fortunately the refrigeration in my storage seems to be working really, really well, and all of that stuff has been able to stay really fresh. So I once again have lots of fish to sell. I've brought along some coins. I also have my seeds, of course. And my inventory will look a little bit different than what I had around the time of the snowboarding festival, because this is a different save file. But almost the same. The only difference, I think, is that I had forgotten to sell my cookies this time around from our Harmony Day festival, so I have those. And maybe I have a few more or a few less fish than I had last time, but otherwise, most of what I've had to sell at the bazaar has been very much the same. All the way along, pretty consistent. The sushi was what I had won from the last bazaar standing. I'm gonna go ahead and put some of my pudding out. I've also grabbed a few balls of wool. And when I was selling stuff earlier, it's not as if my customers weren't coming around. As you can see, I've actually been pretty successful. Once people have started shopping, there've been a really nice steady flow of people. I'm just running into that problem once again where I will run out of items pretty quickly, and I just don't have the large numbers of items to sell. But that will change now that the seasons are going to roll around. We will get back to growing crops. I will have more seed varieties. We're going to be able to grow trees this year. We have a tea plant started. So I'm hoping that the bazaar kind of picks up a little bit as we roll back into spring, because I think I mentioned it in a previous video, but the bazaar for the winter season actually doesn't really feel like the main event. It kind of just feels like a weekly obligation, which is both a good and a bad thing. It's good because it means that there's lots and lots of festivals and stuff to keep us occupied. And it's also great that we haven't really felt that crunch and that pressure to make a lot of money, and we're caught up on our upgrades. But it is kind of bad in a way, I guess, because you lose your discipline to have that motivation to find more stuff to sell. But I think with the variety of what is available in the wintertime, I haven't done too bad, all things considered. These seeds have been an absolute lifesaver. If I didn't have these, I would have been in really, really rough shape. I think it would have been a completely different story had I not had some seeds to fall back on just to help me make a little bit more profit. Hi, Amir. You want me to give you a fish for free, even though you're a friggin' prince. Not a lot of people have talked to us today, so I guess I should be nice and just give it to him, especially because they're not really worth a lot of money. But the audacity. I can see the average person wanting to cut a bit of a bargain as they do their weekly shopping, but You cannot tell me that you don't have the money. This is the second person asking us about the wrapping stall, which at this point we have very intimate knowledge of, considering how much we've used it this month for all of those gifts. And at this stage of the game, I'm just going to kind of go heavy and double down on the seeds. It doesn't offer me a ton of variety, unfortunately, but hopefully those first 2 slots of items will sell and we can just slowly get rid of the rest of it while keeping up our profits. That's kind of my hope. We'll see what happens. It could go either way. We could just not have enough of a variety to attract people, but let's hope that's not the case. And even if I have to bring some of my fish home, they should survive another bazaar without them going bad. I do believe there is one more upgrade for freshness, but at this point I don't need it. It's not even on my radar because I have been holding on to stuff for almost an entire month and they're still maintaining their freshness, which is fantastic. So sales have definitely slowed down. We may still be able to get the customer service award. This is the lady here that will buy stuff for double the price. Doesn't really help us because they're for a low selling item, but that's alright. Even our seeds wouldn't have made a huge difference. Obviously, if she had gone for the grass seeds, that would have been the best case scenario. But we have a beautiful, nice, satisfying number right now. Or we did. Still not in the sales goal, but we do have a few hours left, so we will just push the remainder of what we have left and hope for the best. And hopefully I will have better luck with finding some gold, and that just comes down entirely to luck. I throw myself in that river every day, multiple times a day, but I don't always find anything. And that's obviously what's happening right now, is just I haven't had the best luck in that regard. And at this point, at least we have made it into the sales goal. But again, not the best sales. This is probably one of our poorer performances at the winter bazaars. But I still think every little bit counts. We will still be pushing towards the next bazaar upgrade, which I hope happens soon, because we will kind of need a few things that we unlock going into year 2. And we got a little bit more time here, but it's not looking like we're gonna do a whole lot more. I don't even think we're gonna reach the 100,000 mark. Although, oh, never mind. Cool, thank you. As long as people buy those grass seeds, it really does make a difference because they're about $500 a pop. So, just took that little bit, just that little bit extra to push us over the top and actually propel us forward a little bit, which is extremely helpful. This definitely went much better than it did when I just played this day on my own. I think I sold about $87,000 worth, and this time around we came in at just under 107,000, which is great. So hopefully that will allow us to get first. I think we talked to enough people so that we can get first in both categories. And I'm only going to buy a few things once again. I still don't have a lot of big ticket items that I need right this minute. But what I am going to buy is the final field from Wilbur. I've been putting this off all winter. I didn't feel the need to really rush into this, but I think now that we're going to be growing some more crops, it is worth doing, just as an option. So this is the last field of the game. This will give us 54 more plots to grow stuff in. We'll drop 100k on that, and we're still left with quite a bit of money even after we do that. My tools I'm fairly happy with, so I'm going to pass up any ore at Lloyd's at the moment. And I'm going to come over to Raoul's and I'm going to buy some potato seeds. I'm going to buy 3 rows worth just to start out with. I'm going to buy 18 of them. And then aside from that, I will just be purchasing some chocolate and some wrapping paper, and that will be it for me. I might think about getting another animal at some point. I'm still waiting for Felix to sell us the cat Belle and the dog Bone to do some training. I guess I've forgotten what is required for him to sell those, because I figured he would have sold them by now. We will get access to some more tools come year 2 from Felix as well. And at this point, I'm only purchasing about 16 pieces of chocolate. I'm going to wrap the majority of them in red for Daisy and Freya, because I still don't have anything for them as we go into spring. Now that will change. I will be able to start getting some flowers and some butterflies for all of the girls. But I also have some frogs in my inventory that I really need to get rid of. So I'm gonna switch up Antoinette's gift to frogs just to be able to get rid of those. And then one other thing that I noticed, and I think this has been going on for a little while, when I was wrapping stuff, I noticed that my game has bugged, or I guess it was bugged. It's fixed itself. Oh my god, okay, that's good news. I was wrapping stuff yesterday and it would not let me select yellow wrapping paper. It just straight up wouldn't let me, even though there was no reason for it to do that. Which is good news. We don't use yellow wrapping paper for Sherry anymore, but there are some villagers who do like yellow wrapping paper. I kind of wonder if that's because I'm now playing off of a different save slot or something. I don't know. It could be anything with these emulators. You just never know. So anyways, you get the idea. I'm just gonna keep doing that until I wrap all of my chocolate. And then before you leave the bazaar, keep in mind that it is Angelo's birthday tomorrow. So if you don't have a gift for him, you can buy a piece of chocolate, although I would recommend things like walnuts if you happen to have those, or an egg. An egg will do the trick, and if you so happen to have something for him in your inventory, he would like it wrapped in some yellow wrapping paper to increase his friendship. And of course, I didn't bring a gift for Angelo because I thought that I was not going to be able to wrap it in yellow paper, because I tried to wrap Amir's gift because it was his birthday yesterday. I tried to wrap something of his in yellow for the last bazaar and it just wasn't letting me. But I will keep an eye on that and see if that changes at all. We will go home and get into bed so that Wilbur can give us a little crash course about our next field. Because this field works a little bit differently. Because this actually unlocks our basement, which has been boarded up until now. So this is our final field, and obviously it works a little bit differently than growing outdoors. We don't have to worry about the weather at all. But the one downside to using this field is that we are not able to use fertilizer at all. But we can control the season. We can pretty much grow crops in any season as long as we have the correct seasonal sun. So right now it's set to spring, and just a warning is that we are stuck with it being spring until we upgrade our bazaar next. So if you get really excited about the basement, just keep in mind that until you get another bazaar upgrade, we will be stuck with spring only. But after that, once we buy them, we can change those suns around and we can grow things in whatever season we see fit. You just want to make sure that when you change the sun in the machine, that all your crops have been harvested beforehand. Now, Wilbur doesn't mention it in his tutorial, but you can also grow trees down there. So we aren't limited to just crops. We can grow trees, and we can grow tea plants down there as well. And the one good thing about growing trees down here is that you can change the suns in the sun machine and your trees won't die, because once they're grown, they don't die, they just go dormant. So that's kind of a nice option to have and a nice thing to keep in mind. So we can use this for whatever we want. If we want to have the ability to grow more crops, then we grow crops down here. And if you're okay with filling this up with trees and manipulating the seasons just to be able to get whatever kind of fruit you want or whatever kind of tea plant you want or something like that, then you can do that as well. So we will use the basement a little bit more from this point on. And if there's anything else that I've missed, I will be sure to go over it once we circle back to that. But we'll see how we did this time. And it looks like we're gonna be first this time, which is nice. I think the advantage was me doubling up on those seeds. It was a little bit risky, not being sure if customers were going to be interested in my stand, but it did allow for more people to buy those more expensive seeds. Ah, yay. Alright. We are back on top. Are you gonna give me sushi again? Yes. It was tea cans and now it's sushi, but that sold for over $1,000, so I'm cool with that. And I think we're getting very, very close to that next Bazaar expansion. So I am very much hoping that we'll be able to hit that goal in springtime. Especially if we start growing crops again and we have more to sell. I don't think that that's going to be an issue for us. And that will pretty much wrap up the winter time. I'm going to play the next couple of days just doing anything else that I need to do before the seasons change over, and I will be back on the very last day so that we can go to our New Year's Eve festival. We can ring in the new year and we will finally be able to see some beautiful green grass, and then before you know it, it will be time for the first Bazaar of the spring season, and we'll be ready to do it all over again, so I'm very, very excited. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.